Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Odds here. It's Friday morning, and the Raptors have a doubleheader today with the Raptors 905 of the Greensboro Swarm, Swarm, and the Detroit Pistons playing their last game of 4 against the Raptors here in Toronto for the season. We have beaten the Pistons 3 times already this year. We win tonight. We sweep them, and we better. I'm going to tell you that right now. The Pistons have won 1 game in their last 17 games. They have not won at all hardly since like the middle of February. We've beaten them twice during this period already. And I'm going to tell you this right now. This Pistons team that is coming here to Toronto tonight is the weakest team that we've faced all year. So if we can beat them 3 times already this year, and they're coming with this team, even if we have our injuries, we need to kick their ass. In fact, after the effort against the Pacers on Wednesday night, they need to prove something. They need to come out with an extra gumption and show that who they were on Wednesday is not who they are, and really show an improved effort and execution of their offense and the way they play. Top of top, I see your comment. Let me get to you first. First in the house is Top of Top. Good to see. Good Top of Top. Good friend Top of Top. Great Raptor freak. Good morning, Lex. I missed your chat about the Pacers. Do you think Fred and Pascal are doing enough defensively? I thought they've been brutal all year, and losing to rookies at home shows that. Well, there's a couple of topics of conversation of this topic that I'll go over real quick. First of all, there's a lot of talk about Fred not being quick enough to stay in front of guards. The problem with Indiana the other night was that he just can't keep in between them. The strengths of Fred VanVleet on defense are literally his strength, that he has such strong hands and he steals the ball. He does this and that. He does have deficiencies on defense that we need to cover up with the team. And part of the problem on Wednesday was we did not have a solid 5 starting the game, and that they didn't all work very well together. That was part of the problem, is that, like, look, that defense that the Raptors do only works if all 5 guys are on the same page and they really kind of have a second sense and an understanding of what each other's reactions will be, depending on their reactions. So, like, if Fred or Gary or somebody is going for a steal, the guys behind know what to do in that situation. Well, I feel like some problem with our defense on Wednesday was that it never got that seal and never got that set together as the group. And because of that, they may do the things that they do normally, but because there was some problem along the line in the middle of the lineup, that boom, they couldn't do anything to stop them. And as I said the other day, Rick Carlisle was really smart to figure out how to pick apart our defense. And he did a really good job. Listen, both those guys are great defenders. We have a very good defensive team. I don't think it's necessarily just on those 2 guys. Part of it is that they do have to do a lot on the other end of the court, but it's not that they slack or they're lazy on the defensive end. And sometimes, maybe Pascal looks a little tired and maybe he blows an assignment from time to time. Sometimes Fred gets burned by a younger, quicker guard. Sure. But for the most part, these guys do actually hold their own and do a really good job on defense. So I can't say they were bad all year. But for Wednesday specifically, I think it was because it was a weird starting lineup with somebody who did not play with them very much. And when you want to have that really good seal, good defense, all 5 guys got to be on the same page and have the same kind of experience to do that. And I think that's the tough lesson that Nick learned on Wednesday night, is that he couldn't get any kind of defensive cohesion with the lineup with Barton out there. And it's just too bad. It's just too bad because what happened was they jumped on us right away and they opened the door, and then they felt good for the rest of the night. So it's a little tough, top of top. It's not exactly that. I'll say, sure, Fred has trouble sometimes keeping guys in front of guys and stuff like that, and they get by them. But there's so many other qualities he does defensively that make up for it in a lot of ways. But yeah, he can get burned by a younger, quicker guard in some ways, and it looks real bad. I get what you're saying. Mike's saying, salute the real ones, Project Truth always. We need to put the hard hats on and go to work. listen, Mike, if we lose today, something's really wrong. Seriously. There will be some sort of weird stealth tank because these motherfuckers are straight up tanking we're playing tonight. They don't want to win right now. I mean, let me go through the injury list, and it'll tell you exactly how much they don't want to win. I mean, all right, Magruder is out, guys. Magruder. Rodney Magruder out of the game today already. He has a left foot sprain. Their backup guard off the bench that scores like crazy, Alec Burks, he is out with his foot. He will definitely not be playing today. They've already shut down Bojan Bogdanovic for the season, guys. His Achilles is hurt. He is definitely not playing tonight. So there you go. There's their best scorer and the guy who's kind of been the man for them this year. He's not playing. So then also that tag team of beef and livers, you ain't going to see that tonight. There ain't no livers and there ain't no beef stew. Livers is probable for the game tonight. So maybe Livers will play, but it's looking like he's out. They have him listed as out. Now, on the depth chart, it says he's out. So we'll just have to see if that changes, although it says it's probable, but it also says he's out. So he's kind of ambiguous, Livers. And then Isaiah Stewart, he is definitely out. He's dealing with a left shoulder impingement and will be sidelined for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So there's no beef stew. And then Hamidou Diallo not playing tonight also. Dwayne Casey acknowledged Tuesday that Diallo's ankle likely won't be able to play again this season by the time he's reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. So they're shutting guys down. They're shutting guys down. Of course, we know Cade's out too. Cade's been out all season. So, yeah, they have a laundry list of injuries. And when you say, Lex, well, who the hell do they have playing then? If that's all those guys that are going to be injured, who's going to be on the Pistons tonight? Well, we'll have Jaden Ivey out there, of course, the young rookie. Killian Hayes will be out there, a little shove artist. Marvin Bagley III, and then their new acquisition, James Wiseman. If we remember the last time we played them, those two guys were dangerous, and they did kind of carve us up a little bit. We got to watch out for these big men from the West and playing for them, Wiseman and Bagley. So look out for those big guys. They're the guys that are probably worrying me the most. But this team is super, super young that we're going to be playing against with Hayes and Ivy and Jalen Duren. Corey Joseph will be available tonight as the backup guard. RJ Hampton, Eugene Omoruyu, Buddy Boheim, Jared Roden. This is their lineup right now. That is their core right now. So you see that they don't have a lot of firepower. They're very young. And other than Corey Joseph, they don't really have a lot of experience. They are ripe for the picking. This is a team that does not deserve. This is not a team that we should be losing to. Let's just put it that way. If we lose to them tonight, the stream tomorrow might be really funny because I'll be like, yeah, we're tanking, y'all. Y'all, we're tanking. Woo, we're going for Victor. Because it would really seem like that because this is ridiculous. Now, we have a laundry list too, guys. I'm not going to lie. Detroit has a lot of injuries. We do too. And I found out more about the injuries with our guys from yesterday. I did not realize where the injuries came from. Of course, Gary did hurt himself in the Milwaukee game, guys. He hit the floor very hard at one point on his elbow, and that is where the injury stemmed from the Milwaukee game. He hit the floor, the court, bam. I think you guys remember Gary hitting the floor a couple times in recent games where he's hurt himself. So that's why Gary's hurt. And then Precious, he actually had his injury in practice the day before the game, on Wednesday. So Precious got hurt on Tuesday. So, yeah, these guys in some ways, listen, I don't know how hurt they are. They may be able to play, but we're also in this weird section of the season where it's we're not really this and this. And some guys may be a little hurt and they don't want to risk getting hurt further. And very much maybe the same sentiment that the team has as far as listen. Let's let them sit and err on the side of precaution, and we'll just play. And it could be that it's only for these kind of games with these Eastern teams right now at home, Indiana, Detroit, and Washington. And hopefully maybe for Miami, we'll have more full strength. Now, speaking of Miami, they have jumped into a full playoff spot and overtaken the Brooklyn Nets as of last night. So if we overtake the Hawks and get into the 8th seed for the play-in, we would play Brooklyn in a one and done in Brooklyn for that 7th seed to play against the 2nd seed. in the first round of the playoffs. And in some ways, I like that matchup way better than Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and the Miami Heat. That, you know, these Nets guys have been thrown together pretty recently, and they have shown that they can be beat. And I think we'd have a better chance against them. So I like this development that Miami's out of the play-in bracket and the Nets are now in there, maybe possibly lining up with us. That's not a bad thing. Toronto's injury list is as such, y'all. Joe Weezy is out as questionable with his hamstring, so we may not see Joe Weezy dressed up. Delano is out still because of his thumb. Gary's elbow has made him questionable for today. Precious's hamstring. He did not practice yesterday. Neither did Gary. Neither did Scotty. None of those three guys practiced yesterday. And Nick seemed kind of frustrated with it and also seemed kind of like, I don't think they're going to play tomorrow either, is what he kind of was mentioning. So don't expect to see Gary, Precious, or Scotty back tonight. Scotty out with his wrist also, of course. And then we know Otto Porter's been out for the whole season. So there's our injury list for the Raptors. Joeezy, Delano, Gary, Precious, and Scotty. So, yeah, who do we get left with? Well, we saw who we got left with. And hopefully this time they'll make a better decision with who starts as the fifth starter with Fred, OG, Pascal, and Jakob. You know, we'd like to see maybe Malachi, maybe Jeff Doughton Jr., maybe Chris Boucher. I'm Thaddeus Young. He could start, and I wouldn't be upset. Christian Coloco, he'd be fantastic, possibly just to give the young man another start in his rookie year. I don't know. We'll have to see what Nick decides. Just don't put Will Barton in the starting lineup again tonight. I hope you learned your lesson the other day, Nick. Yeah, we're going to salvage Will Barton as a project before the end of the season, but you got to do it not so heavy and maybe give him a chance to ingratiate himself in our offense and get going a little bit in a smaller dose before you put him in such a primary role, because that really messed us up. That really messed us up on Wednesday. All right, let's see who else is in the chat this morning. Isaac Campbell is here. SB4, please call it a comeback. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. In some ways, listen, it's about weighing things. In some ways, yeah, our guys are a bit individualistic and they do worry about their own careers. And in some ways, if they're kind of like, yeah, we're kind of mid, their gumption, their motivation, I hate to say, may not be as strong right now just because of where we are in our position for this year. You know, if we were in a full playoff spot and we were really trying to make a surge up, I bet you these guys would be playing a little bit hurt trying to get into this postseason. But at this point, I think we're kind of going in a mid effort level. And I don't fault these guys for sitting right now. In fact, it may be very smart strategy for these young men not to push it and possibly get further injured at this stage of this season with the stakes that we're dealing with our team. Does that make sense? That in some ways we got to think about the long-term versus the short-term goals. And do we want to have like a horrible injury happen to one of these young guys where they do not play next season just because we played them at the end of the season right now, a little bit hurt? Yeah, I don't like that trade-off. So I'm perfectly fine with Mr. Barnes, Mr. Achua, Mr. Trent sitting out tonight. We'd much rather err on the side of caution. We can probably kick Detroit's ass tonight without them. We better be able to. Oh, my gosh. Jimmy's saying it. They better win today. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, they better, Jimmy. This Pistons team, listen, Coach Casey has said, I love y'all. We love you too, Case. Don't worry. Oh, that's water on the bridge. We do care about you. But somebody who has a revenge against us took it out on us. Yes, it's very evident on Wednesday night. I go to Instagram, and I still follow Oshae Brissette. And I look at his Instagram the day after we played them, and he has got a very interesting post. Oshae is saying in the caption, God's favorite accumulated a ton of karma still. And then, of course, it's all about him playing in Toronto. And there's a clip of him warming up. Then there's a clip of him dribbling down the court at the Air Canada Center with his buddy, Josh Tiven, running behind him. Yeah, Mr. Tiven was your buddy that night, Oshae. And then there's this nasty dunk that they show Oshae throwing it down on Jakob Poeltl, and he's kind of hanging and pushes, and he's all up in his face. And that may have been where he got the technical. See, that's the thing. I think that he was really jawing at Jakob and talking smack, and he menaced him, and that is why he got that technical in the game, Oshae Brissette. Well, the whole message of this Instagram post is basically Toronto Raptors. I was on your team once. I was a Raptor. I was a Canadian Raptor, but y'all cut me. You cut me and sent me away for a guy named Yuta Watanabe. And I went to the Indiana Pacers and made myself up into more and more. So in some ways, this was a revenge visit by Oshae Brissette with the other two young Canadian guys, the rookies, to come and beat our ass. So that's the thing. This was very premeditated by Indiana Pacers, Canadian Indiana Pacers. And Brissette says that karma has been collected for him to come back and do that to us. Wow. 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 I respect that though, Oshae, because, listen, we did give up on you a little too early, I think, in some ways. You're definitely a very useful big man that could have been helpful during some of the time while you were gone when we were here. But then again, who knows if you would have developed the same way on the Raptors that you have and gotten to where you are with the Pacers. So I think what happened is the way it's supposed to be. And so be it. It's too bad. And yeah, if you feel like you want to get karma back against us, you go ahead, Brissette. Hopefully that's the last time you get that karma against us. Woo. All right, let's see. Tom Duke is back in the house, y'all. So good to see Tom Duke's name in the chat because that means he's back home at Victoria, British Columbia, safe. Safe travels back. And that, Tom, I hope you had a blast while you were here in town. I hope you got to catch up on the stream yesterday. Lots of fun stuff said on there. And Tom, apparently, some people are saying they saw you on TV during the game. So we're going to have to find that clip of you on the TV for the Raptors broadcast on Wednesday while we're at the game. They swear they saw you in the crowd. Two different people in this chat said they saw you. So we're going to have to find that part there. I know Mike may have the ability with the replay site that he uses to find that. And maybe we can get that cool still of you on the television broadcast, Tom. All right, so Tom's saying, good day, Lex. Back to reality. Let's fucking go, Raptors. Thanks again for our time together. Tom, it was a pleasure. And, it was so awesome and wonderful. It was a breath of fresh air for me. You were a kick in the butt to get me out of the house and go have a good time. And I really do appreciate that, Tom. In some ways, I am very much a homebody. And if I don't have any reason to leave the house, I won't. Well, you definitely gave me some good reasons to leave the house this week. And I was so happy that all the special moments that we had while you were here. It's amazing the little bit of time that you were here, you got to do a lot. And you got to meet a lot of people, and you got to see a lot of things, and you got to do a lot of fun stuff that a Raptor fan would totally enjoy. And I'm so happy that the trip became such a great time that you got to meet people from my old life and people from the crew with us now. And that was just such a beautiful and awesome thing, Tom. I'm so glad that you're back. And I'm serious, man. I'm gonna come out there and visit you guys. I don't know exactly when. I'd ideally like to maybe try and do it sometime this summer, but it may not be as soon as this year. It could be next year, but I will definitely be trying to get to you guys out west for sure. Mike's saying, for sure, Lex, I'm watching closely, but not gonna lie, I was in the Knicks stream and they had a funeral vibe from the loss of the Magic, questioning the whole team. The Knicks are in a playoff perception. All right, this is fun. Mike is like our spy now. I think that this is a pretty cool niche for you, Mike. And in some ways, if you want to help me on the preview streams, you can kind of go feel out the visiting locker room. I saw the footage this morning of what happened. The Knicks are weird, man. They will really, oh my gosh, these guys, this team is so funny to me. What they do to their fans is just wrong. It's almost like torturous. They do this thing where, all right, there's going to be a certain segment of the season where you're going to feel like we're really capable and we're really good and we're on our way and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And you're going to feel so good about it. Well, they always come crashing down to reality at some point. And this year, I have to give them credit. They actually got really far into their season before it all came crashing down. But now it has. And his name is Julius Randle. Yeah, Julius. Yeah, we knew this. Julius is a knucklehead. He's always been this since he's been in the league. He will always come and derail you at some point in time. I don't care how talented he is. I don't care how good he is. He's a knucklehead. And it showed last night in Orlando, him getting in fights with his teammates on the court. and not leaving the court, the referee yelling at him, all kinds of stuff. It looked like he wanted to hit Emmanuel quickly in the face last night in the middle of the game. Yeah, you tell me if things are good in New York. And of course, Knicks fans are freaking out and feeling like it's a funeral, Mike, because their team's exploding into a dumpster fire once again with only a couple weeks left in the regular season. And the crazy thing is they have a playoff spot. They're in the playoffs. Well, let's see what they do in the first round. This is going to be a crazy, crazy thing to see. Oh my gosh, the Knicks. Yes, the Knicks. He may be higher than us in the division, but really, are they in better shape than us? No, they're not. Isaac saying shout out to the West Coast side. That's right, Isaac Campbell. Let's say shout out to Tom Duke, Joseph Starks, and Shane Waters holding it down on the BC side of this country. We appreciate you, gentlemen, the ones in the Pacific time zone. I hope that Tom is having no problem with jet lag. In fact, I was thinking about this. I was like, if anyone in this world is immune to jet lag, it's the man who rises up at 6:30 every morning to watch this stream, the Raptor Freak president of the West Coast, Tom Duke, because it's like, look, he's already up right now. It's not like this is going to be messing him up because he's up at this time, Eastern time, on Western time, all the time anyway. And that's right. Tom Duke is invincible to time zones, is what I'll say right now. You go, Tom Duke. Hopefully you're rested and you feel good and you're getting back to work. Your hands healed a little bit better and everything went smooth while you were gone. And you ain't got no dumpster fires to put out when you get back. Hopefully everything was running smoothly in your absence. I hope that for you, my friend. My good friend, Tom Duke. He's my brother, y'all. He's like, it was weird, man. As soon as I met him, I was like, this guy's just like an older brother to me, like instantly. Seriously, I feel like he's my brother. Seriously, he kind of looks like my brother, and in a lot of ways, the way we interact is kind of like how I interact with my real brother. So it was very cool to meet him. All right, let's see what Nako's saying. Nako is hopefully coming to see me today to watch the game with me tonight against the Pistons. Hopefully, Gerald, you can make it here, and I know you got to work, and just come on by when you can. I like you did the other time. It'll be really fun. Nako saying, I feel bad for Koloko. So many people say we shouldn't have traded for Thad so we could get Kessler or Nembhard, who are good. Lest I'm mistaken, Koloko still has the best plus minus. I don't feel bad for Koloko. He's fine. He's in a good spot. He's going to be okay. I mean, this is crazy talk. Who thought that we could trade Thad to get Kessler or Nembhard? Who thought that? That doesn't seem like anybody take that deal. I don't think the Utah Jazz would take Thad Young for Walker Kessler. That doesn't even line up. It's so like they're at very opposite ends of their career in some ways. Nembhard, I would love to get Nembhard on this team, but I don't think that was possible either. I don't know. There may be some weird fans that think that they're like trade machine fans, and they think that it lines up with the money on the computer. That it's just reality could happen. There's a lot of weird trade machine fans that just, if it fits in the machine and the green goes on the bottom instead of the red, they're like, "Oh, it could happen. It could happen." But I don't think that doesn't sound like that was ever a reality or possibility. Danny Ainge is not that stupid, first of all. And I don't think that. I think Nembhard is one of the things that they're talking about, and they were talking about it on the Raptors show yesterday. It was Andrew Nembhard picked too late in the draft. That he is much more valuable than where he got drafted in the draft last year, that he should have been maybe a higher pick. That's what they're saying about him right now. Space Cadet is here. Good to see Space Cadet in the house. The Pacers have pretty good depth. The Raptors don't. Missing 3 rotation players makes a difference. It really was a poor decision by Nick Nurse, and he admitted it yesterday, y'all. It's amazing. I'm telling y'all, people that get down on Nick, you got to realize he's not too arrogant to realize when he screwed up. He said it yesterday. He put it out in words in the practice interview yesterday. He said, we could have made better personnel decisions yesterday. He said it outright. And I appreciate him being accountable and saying it publicly. In some ways, when you do that, Nick, you give me the ammunition to stand up for you like I am right now. That he really did take a gamble, and it was exactly what we thought. He wanted to integrate him quicker and get him a little bit more like run with the main guys to try and get it to work, but it was a disaster. And he realizes that he failed with his rotations and his personnel decisions last night. He didn't blame a lot of other things. He was mainly blaming himself for the Indiana loss. So anybody who's upset with Nick Nurse, well, he's taking the accountability, guys, and he understands. And there have been a couple points this season where Nick has said we need to make better decisions as the coaching staff. And we need to realize that that's pretty damn good. Because, some people in the NBA don't take any accountability and they think they're above the law. I'm above the law. And that's the refs. In fact, there's a very crazy wrinkle that's happened now in the last couple of days. I don't know if y'all noticed. Now, the story we've been talking this week is that the incident with Fred VanVleet and Ben Taylor got Ben Taylor demoted. Well, that's not true, according to the NBA refs. In fact, they said that this schedule has been made months in advance and that no, Ben Taylor did not get demoted for the things that happened with Fred. He just sometimes isn't the crew chief. And that everything, there's all this kind of stuff. They can say he punished them or whatever like that, but they're not going to tell us that they did. And now everybody's like, it's backfiring. In fact, there's more backlash and people coming after the referees in the NBA more than ever because they're opening their eyes. They're seeing how many different incidents and how many different games across the league. You see what's happening with Mark Cuban this week with the ending of that Golden State Dallas game where the refs really fucked around. And that was really crazy what they did in that game. And we're seeing just how crooked and messed up they are. Like I said, Luka ran by the refs and said, money. Yeah, the eyes are getting opened up to your bullshit, NBA, with your referees. And you guys are so arrogant that you fucked up once again. The arrogance of your organization and your union is going to fucking destroy you guys. You don't even understand that. Now, this is the thing. They're saying they didn't punish Ben Taylor. And everybody was saying in the comments and Twitter, it's like, you guys are idiots. You should have just made us believe you did. Because now we all think you're fucking full of shit even more. Because you're admitting that you didn't punish him for being a bad ref. So now everybody's coming with the pitchforks, the torches, and they're coming after the NBA referees union. Thank God. Somebody described on Twitter this week that Fred VanVleet is a social justice warrior leader because he is the head in the movement to come after the refs. Even if he's not vocally that guy or being in it, he kind of is the symbol of it for speaking out recently. And the fact that the referee association is so stupid that they didn't just let this lie or this bullshit go out. They were too arrogant. They're like, no, we didn't demote him. No, we're never wrong and all that. That's really how they carry themselves on the court with the challenges and outside with the rulings and stuff. They think they're protecting the integrity. But you know what integrity is? You don't even fucking know that, NBA refs. You don't know what integrity is. Integrity is owning up when you make a mistake, just like Nick Nurse did about the game in Indiana this week. That's what I'm saying. Integrity is knowing when you did fuck up and admitting it. That's the biggest thing about integrity. But y'all don't have integrity. And that's why you're just above reproach and you never make mistakes and you try and cover each other's asses. Y'all act like a fucking police department. I'm going to tell you that right now. The fucking NBA refs have the same kind of union and culture as a police union and their culture. You hide things for each other. You fucking have no integrity, NBA refs. And you saying that this is a bullshit story about him getting demoted, that actually didn't serve y'all. Trust me. You're fucking dumbasses. And your arrogance and you're above the law and all this bullshit and you're not, you're above and you never make mistakes. And how dare you question me? That attitude is going to fucking destroy y'all. And we are coming for you. The people know it's all wide open, wide-eyed and mainstreaming now. We know how bad y'all are fucking crooked and we're watching. And every fan nation is seeing it in their games and they're chirping about it. And you guys need to fucking change your league because you may destroy it if you don't fucking get some humbling for the NBA referees union. You need humbling. That's what y'all need. You need to be humbled. And if you can come back and admit when you're wrong, then you may actually show that you have some integrity. But no, you don't at this point. In fact, your arrogance is going to fucking destroy you. Yeah, that's how it all works, NBA refs. I don't know if you know the way the life works. Well, that's how it works. You keep going in this direction, you're going to get what you get, NBA refs. And it may be monumentally bad for the NBA, trust me. All right, let's see. Guardians here. Good to see Guardian Transit. Realistically, I think we are looking at the 8th through 10th. 7th, probably hard to attain. Yeah, I've kind of lowered my expectation. Let's just flip over on top of Atlanta. That's all I care about. And even if Brooklyn gets worse and worse and they fall down, we don't want to be in 9 or 10. We want to be in 8. 7 may not be statistically possible, but we want to be at least 8. 8 is the spot. Space Cadet saying you can get 7th without actually finishing 7th. That's a weird puzzle. I got to think about that. What does this mean? This is like a riddle. I feel like I just walked into a weird forest and a caterpillar with a hookah just asked me a question. You can be 7th without actually finishing 7th. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? That hookah smoking caterpillar just blew my mind with like some sort of thing. Am I on drugs? I don't know. That is weird, Space Cadet. I feel like you're like a wise old animal in the forest that said you can be 7th without actually finishing 7th. How? I don't understand this totally. I kind of want you to elaborate. This is very interesting. Mike's saying it's about the whole team healthy for the play-in and playoffs. Maybe if they play caution, we need to still push for wins. I think they looked the game too lightly. They took the game too lightly looking at the Pacers lineup, I'm hoping. I do think that's true too, Mike. I think that, like I said yesterday, we've taken the Pacers lightly every single game we played them this year. They swept us this year. And I think every single game, we kind of took them lightly and didn't take them as seriously as we should have. That's the thing when you have young rookies that are advanced and they're way better than you think, and they're contributing like that. You can overlook them and to understand, oh crap, these guys are way better. Halliburton's out. Oh, we should get them. Halliburton's out. Yeah, but Nebhard is in. And you got to remember that. Yeah. Tom's saying, no way. That's cool. My PVR did not record the game. I definitely had a special trip, the true Raptor Freak experience. That's awesome, Tom. I love that. You really did get some really special moments that I couldn't have planned. That it was just like we were lucky. We're in the right place at the right time, and we saw the right people. And, that picture, I put it on my Facebook cover photo of you, Alvin Williams, and myself. I'm so happy with that picture, even though I look like I'm very tired and all buggered out and like not feeling good. But that is an amazing picture. Of course, Alvin looks like $1 million. I know he's older than me, but he looks like 20 years younger than me in that picture. Oh my gosh, you go A Boogie. Club 20's here, baby. We love Alvin Williams. Alvin Williams is our guy. Yeah. Seymour saying, happy Friday, Raptor Freaks. We the North. Thank you, Mr. Seymour Pape. Sheriff Seymour Pape is always on duty when he's in here with the wrench. Yeah, we watch out. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth. Hey, good morning. Yeah, they went with Yuta over Oshae Brissette. It was a knee injury. At the time, was used as the reason why. It was a mistake. Point taken. Had he stayed, development might have been different. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder if he would be as good as he is right now here, because in some ways, it seems like in the recent years, our team is not good at developing guys off the bench. Sure, we're good at developing the starters. We're good at developing the main guys that get to play a lot, but it could be very well that Brissette was stuck at the end of the bench and he didn't get the time that he got in Indiana to get to who he is right now. And I hate to say that. I'd like to think that our organization is a development organization that we can help grow guys. But in some ways, I know that he probably wouldn't have gotten to the level he's at right now if he had been with Toronto. So don't be salty, Oshae. This was for the best for you. Trust me. I mean, it may have hurt a little bit. I mean, understandable. I mean, this is a Canadian guy, and he was really happy to play on the Canadian team. And in some ways, it's like you discarded him. And I don't like that in some ways, but I understand. Listen, that's how it goes. It's just the league. It's how it is. Fun guy saying, okay, I need a real answer now that we can ask. The West versus Toronto, so I know whether to move. Okay, Tom Duke, he's posing a question to you. A man in the 905 is wondering what it's like out in the West, on the West Coast, Mr. Fun Guy. And Tom, you can answer him at your own whenever you want to and tell him what's up. All right, here we got David, a real one. David Saborn is in the house. Let's see. What is he saying? I jumped. Okay. Let me make sure I get David's first comment. I see there's a few there. David says, good morning. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, I love that. It's nice and simple. Thank you, David. Good to see you. Trevor's saying, good morning. We need this win tonight. Go Raptors, go. Yes, we need to blow ahead into more wins with the wind of the winds, the wind. We need the wind. I like your typo because I like it. It's kind of fun. Wind. We need the wind behind our backs, pushing us forward. Because listen, this is not going to get easier. I looked at our last 9 games. We got 3 easy games. We got 3 medium games, and then we got 3 hard games. And this is one of the easy games. This game and the Charlotte games are the 3 easy games. And then you got the Washington, the Miami, and the Philadelphia games as the medium games. And then you got those Boston and Milwaukee games at the end. And that, David's saying, did we make it on TV or what? Well, somebody said Tom did. I don't know. Maybe you did too, David. I don't know. But they're saying they saw Tom. They didn't say me. So maybe I didn't get on TV, but Tom did. Maybe Greg's on TV too, because he was sitting kind of close to him too. We'll have this. Whoever can find this picture or frame and see if they can see it, please. We got to see this and get it shared with Tom. Mike's saying the new screen emote option on YouTube is fun. Can everybody see the hearts? I can see them, Tom. I mean, Mike, I can see them. When you guys do the emoji, it's a preference I can put when I make the stream. It says, do you want live reactions for your stream? And I say, yes. And then I can see, oh, there's hearts going right now. I see the hearts. They're flowing up. Like, did you guys ever play? All right, I'm going to show my age, really. This will be fun for any old video game historians. I had a ColecoVision when I was a very young child. And one of the games I had on ColecoVision was Popeye. And I don't know if you guys ever played the Popeye video game. It was kind of like the original Mario Brothers game where they run around and they like cut levels and trying to avoid Bluto, who's running after you. And what you're doing is collecting hearts. And they would flow up just like the hearts on the that you guys are pushing in there. And they would go up and you're trying to collect them for olive oil, of course. The whole Popeye game from back in the day from ColecoVision. This is like 1983 I'm talking about, y'all. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Let's see later if the boys have it in them. There goes those olive oil hearts again. Good morning, fam. Let's see later if the boys have it in them to fight. The rankings are close. We must at least secure a play-in spot. Good experience for them. 100%. 100%. Ha 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 ha. All right, no, I'm not going to do the emojis all the time as you're doing them, but that's pretty funny. Yeah, let's look at the standings real quick. All right, so we're a full game behind Atlanta. That means we need to win and they need to lose. And it's true. If we had just won on Wednesday, we would have such a better position because they all lost, and that was a chance for us to leap up. So it's a full game. So what are we seeing? We got to beat Detroit tonight. And is Atlanta playing tonight? I don't see them on the schedule. Or no, they're not playing tonight. So we can at least get a half game closer to them by taking this game against the Pistons. So that's good. We'll have to see. The Bulls are half game behind us. So this is something we do need to watch out for them. They are in Portland tonight, playing a late game against the Trailblazers. The Blazers are kind of in a weird place where they're kind of shutting down for the season. Dame Lillard has talked about how he's upset that the team wants to rebuild once again for like the dozenth time in his career. Portland wants to rebuild, and he's just sick of it. But he doesn't want to leave. That's the whole thing. He's like, in some ways, I think what Dame Lillard is saying is he wants everybody to stay and just build from that instead of destroying it all and starting over again. So we'll have to see what the motivations are with the Trailblazers tonight. In some ways, they're not really in competition for the play-in at this point, and it may be that they roll over and let the Bulls win tonight. So I hope that's not true, but that could very well be true. And in that case, we definitely need to win tonight to stay a half game ahead of the Chicago Bulls. So there you go. There's our standings check with the Hawks and the Bulls next to us in the standings and the Nets falling into the play-in with us. This is a good development. Seriously, I'd much rather play a one and done with the Nets than the Miami Heat. Really, really would. Yeah. Let's see. Let's keep going. Infamous is saying, yeah, we've got to get that playing spot. It'll be a good experience for those young guys, for sure. That is really a goal, for sure, Fiercey. Infamous is saying, morning, this could be a trap game. We better come to play. Casey wants to play spoiler. Yeah, I'm not feeling that, man. I'm telling you, man, I do my thing every night where I go and suss out what the team's doing. And we'll just say this, Infamous. The Detroit Pistons have won one game since the beginning of February. Let's just put it that way. And if we're going to be the next game that they win, I don't want that to happen. No, we don't. And with the personnel that they have out, I'm sorry. They just don't have the firepower to match up with us, even with the guys we have out also. So no, please, no, and no. This is not a Casey's revenge night. Trust me. Casey come back in. We'll say hi. We'll celebrate him maybe a little bit. But no, they're not. If they win, I'm serious, Infamous. If the Pistons win tonight, there's going to be some serious problems with this team. And we're going to talk about it tomorrow. And I'm just going to be like, you know what? Just fall out of the play-in. Just go ahead and fall out of the play-in. Let the Pacers come up, take our spot, and we will just not have a postseason. If we're going to lose the Pistons tonight, that's what I'm going to say tomorrow morning if we lose tonight. Seriously. So we don't want that. We don't want that. Speaking of history, since Coach Casey is a big part of our history, today is the anniversary, guys, of the Toronto Raptors, the defeat of the Chicago Bulls on March 24th, 1996. The expansion Toronto Raptors beat the eventual championship Chicago Bulls, who got a 72-10 record. They only lost 10 times the whole entire season, and the Raptors were one of those times they lost in front of the Skydome crowd of 36,000. The Toronto Raptors, led by Damon Stoudemire, with Alvin Robertson and Carlos Rogers and Oliver Miller, defeated the Chicago Bulls on this date in 1996. That is a great day, history day in the history of the Raptors' history. A fantastic day in our rookie year as a franchise, defeating the 72-10 Chicago Bulls with Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan. That is a huge accomplishment. No joke and no lie. It's a good day to celebrate a great moment in the history of the Raptors. Yeah, I love it. Seymour saying, "Hey Tom, quick question. Did you have a window seat, and is the world flat?" Laugh out loud. I hope you had fun in the city. No, yeah, maybe you could tell Kyrie what you saw on the flight back over to BC and let him know the truth. All right, let's see. Nago saying, if we didn't trade Thad, we would have had a higher draft pick, so we could have drafted one of them. Oh, I see what you're saying. Is last year when we got Thad, we traded a pick that could have been one of those guys. I'm not a woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. I don't give a shit about this. We did what we did. We're doing what we're doing, and we're going ahead. And I love having Koloko on our team. So I wouldn't change anything. Thad's fine. I'm glad we have Thad. And I don't give a shit about Walker Kessler or Nembhard. We got who we got, and I trust in Masai, and he'll get some more new guys this summer. They're going to be good for us too. But yeah, I really love the prospects of Koloko. And yeah, it is what it is. Let's not question the path. The path is what the path is, and we continue down it and do not regret the forks that we passed before in the road. Let's see. G saying Nembhard is pick 31. Just goes to show you there are gems everywhere. I feel Masai has his eye on someone this year in the draft. Yeah. And that's what makes me think fishy, like losses late in the season, like this season and like the Tampa season. That maybe, when he did what he did with the Tampa team to land that fourth pick. I mean, they had to have ping pong ball luck because we were slated for like 6th or 7th and we jumped up the 4th. But that's the kind of thing that Masai and Bobby will do is they forecast, they speculate, they look at chances and probabilities according to where they land and what they do with wins and losses and the draft and what the ping pong balls, how many you get to possibly have a higher pick. This is all part of what is going into the process of how they're forecasting and planning this team. So, yeah, I'll bet you money that they have a very, very good idea of what they want to do with their contingency plans with the season and going into the draft and what they're going to do. They have to. But yeah, there are always gems out there, and we know Masai knows who they are. David's saying he always does. That's right. He just does. Tom Duke's saying definitely round. Definitely does not make sense to be round. That's a tough one, Seymour. There is a chance it is flat. He cannot confirm for sure, but he did not come to the edge of it and fall over while he flew. That's great. G saying Mark Cuban and Trae Young went after the refs. They're not the only ones. I'm telling you, there's people coming out all over the place and upset about different bullshit with them, whether they're just very arrogant, egotistical, all kinds of crazy, messed up calls. They're getting put on blast now more than ever. The referees are getting called out and put on the spotlight, and rightfully so. There's a big meme I posted it yesterday in the Raptor Freak Facebook chat of Scott Foster and his record with Chris Paul. It signifies exactly what we're talking about: grudges and feuds between players and referees. And well, Ben Taylor, Fred VanVleet came out as that is actually a real thing, and we know it is now. Well, Scott Foster and Chris Paul is a real thing also. And how many of these are going on around the league? There's other players that probably feel like there's certain refs that are picking on them for sure. Yeah, that's good. Fuck the refs. That's what David said. That's maybe what you could have said. I had an interesting conversation with Randy Irvin after Raptors Tonight the other night. I asked him straight up. I said, are you guys allowed to talk critically about the refs on Raptors Tonight, or could you guys catch a fine for the Raptors organization if you're too outspoken against them? Like if you did, like I said, I told Randy, I said, look, if I came up to you and had the question on your show, I would have asked you, why is it that Indiana got the ball twice when they hit the ball out of bounds and it was clearly out on them? I saw it, and Josh Tiven gave them the ball when it should have been our possession. Like, how do the Raptors have to deal with these bad referees and bad calls? How would you answer that? He said, well, we would have answered it, but we really don't try to like talk too much about the refs like that, because he didn't know exactly if they could catch a fine if they said it too much on their show. I mean, they are employees of MLSE and the Raptors. So in some ways, yeah, I'll bet you they could, but he didn't know for sure. And that was kind of funny to ask him that. That's like the insider question for the Raptors Tonight, guys, the off-camera question. Yeah, so I found that out later. That's pretty cool. Smooth saying, as for the Knicks and being a fan of theirs, yes, JR is not a good fit on the team. He's constantly arguing with teammates and coaches. He's their undoing. Build around RJ. Yeah, and this has been the case all along. It was the same thing in LA with the Lakers when he was there too. He's just a hothead. It's like, this is the thing. It's like every player has a certain range of different characteristics. Well, he is super ultra talented, and he's a great player to have on teams. But to an extent, there's the other factors with him and his personality that cause problems. It's crazy. There's a really funny clip of Jimmy Butler making fun of him. He's like, Julius is yelling at the ref, and he's going on, and Jimmy's mimicking him, like, woo! He's like rolls his eye and does the whole Julius Randle like arguing with the ref, like right next to them where they can both see him, and Jimmy just doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, woo! And also, Jimmy said recently he doesn't start playing until after the All-Star break. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, Smooth. Listen, I feel bad for Knicks fans. Seriously, I know a lot of Knicks fans. They're friends of mine, and I often like lament their poor. It's just like being a Raptors fan is so much more fun and just amazing, and we've had so many cool things happen in all the time. And they've had different misery at different times. I feel bad for them, and also rest in peace, Willis Reed. I'll just take a note real quick because I didn't bring him up yet this week. Much respect and love to the great Willis Reed who passed this week. A great, great, great role model. And that amazing story of him returning to the game and the power of that and that story in Knicks Nation. He's just an amazing man. And hearing all the different tributes and different stories that everybody's had about Willis Reed, we get one common thread. And through that integrity, which the refs do not have, and just a great strength and leadership, and just a really good person. And like after the game, very active as being a leader and just being just an important ambassador for the NBA since his retirement as a player. And yeah, he had different things. Like he was the GM and coach for the Nets for a while. He's been in a couple of different jobs around the NBA since. But rest in peace. My condolences to the friends and family of Willis Reed, one of the greatest NBA players to ever play, a true role model, and one of the most important New York Knicks in their history of their franchise. It truly does come from the bottom of my heart as a diehard NBA fan. Well, not in it, as a diehard basketball fan. I feel a lot of respect and condolences for people that care about Willis Reed. Yeah. Let's see. Mike is saying Austin Reaves and free throws is crazy. He's getting a superstar whistle, but the whistle has tightened on actually all stars. There's a massive backlash from fans in that world. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, well, listen, let's look at the West Side in the standings. The things that are happening with the Lakers are interesting. In some ways, they're getting that help right now from the referees, and that may be how it's manifesting. In the absence of LeBron James being out, well, they got to give the superstar golden boy calls to somebody on the Lakers to help prop them up. And they've decided it's going to be Austin Reaves. It is so fishy. And it really does show just how they can pick and choose who they want to prop up. And I just sick of it. You guys got to understand, referees. There's more interconnectedness with people. It's not like, the internet's out there. We can all share our thoughts and feelings and what we see, and we can get on the same page. It may be back in the day, y'all could run some crazy ass shit and nobody would talk about it because nobody was either intelligent enough to know exactly what y'all were doing, or maybe because the communications were the same. It's all phones and telegrams and stuff like that. When people weren't going to talk amongst themselves, like this happened in Sacramento last night. Well, this happened in Detroit last night. That's the thing. The information shared. The NBA fan nation is a hive mind. And everybody's taking in this information and sharing notes. And they're like, yeah, this is fucked up. Yeah, this is fucked up. And we're starting to understand some of y'all's rackets. So you may need to either, one, stop doing rackets, or two, get new rackets that you can fool us with if you really want to continue to be corrupt and do fucked up bullshit. Yeah. There's a lot of questions about this. It's very interesting how Austin Reaves is getting a lot of favorable calls recently. Very, very interesting. And they are rising up in the Western standings, and they have a spot in the play-in at this point. They were out of the play-in just a couple weeks ago, and LeBron's been out for a while. Yeah, something's fishy there. Something is fishy. A fun guy saying, laugh my ass off. You can't punish refs. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Laugh out loud. Reffing is subjective and very mistake prone. 100% every play can result in a ref call. I just don't see how you punish refs. I think you can. You could do it internally. You can do it on the down low. It may be that it doesn't happen in the season. It could be it's something that happens in the off season. They kind of look at the record and how the ref did for the whole season, and then they get demoted during the off season. Either you don't see them anymore. Like guys get demoted and leave the league. People, don't do this and don't do that. I'm just saying. Now, what Trae is saying, Trae Young, is he wants them to get fined and suspended just like players do. That they want to know about when it happens and all this kind of stuff. But in some ways, you can't do that publicly in front of people because it taints them and makes them kind of like not a good ref. And then this bad. It's a very delicate situation. These motherfuckers just need to come clean. These motherfuckers got to stop acting like mafia. These motherfuckers got to stop acting like bad cops, is what I'm saying. And when you do that, Adam Silver, when you get these guys, these bad older refs that act like this, they're like fucking Copland, like fucking Robert Patrick and fucking Harvey Keitel and all those motherfuckers in that movie, you get them out of there. And hopefully the young crop, you can train them right and have them right. No funny business with Donaghy connections or gambling bullshit, and no vendettas, personal vendettas with certain players, and no what is it? Egos. Yeah, that's the big word. I think that if you're an NBA ref, you can't have an ego. And in some ways, that's part of the problem too. I don't know. They've got a big problem with the league and the officials. The conception is that they cheat, that they're crooked, and that they're messed up, and that the game isn't fair, that they can really railroad teams to wins and losses, and that they are controlling things too much. And they should be letting the teams control the outcome of the game with how they play instead. Isaac saying Fred has always been vocal and a social justice champion, embedded in his DNA. We the North. Yeah, he cares about what's right and wrong. He has a conscience and he has no filter. He's like me. He speaks his mind. He says what he means. He means what he says. And he's not about like mincing words. In fact, I applaud his courageousness and his outspokenness. You're right, Isaac. It's not just on this subject. There's been many, many subjects in Fred VanVleet's career that he's spoken out on, and it's not always something that everybody wants to hear. But I've always agreed with him and sided with him. But sometimes he says stuff that may actually anger some of the Raptors fans, and I have no problem with that. You go, Fred. You be exactly who you are, and we appreciate you for being the outspoken person that you are. Infamous is saying, I'm glad you mentioned Nurse taking accountability. We got some channels in the YouTube streets that just want to blame Fred and Pascal, even went as far to Fred was wrong for calling out Ben Taylor. Well, that's the thing. There's everything is weird in this world. There's two sides in some ways. And some people are really like, yeah, I've seen some of this stuff trying to prop this up. Some of this is like, I'm wondering, are the NBA refs like paying guys to make content in their defense? Like, could there be like some of this going on? It very much is the card of certain political groups to get the power of persuasion. That's why I was telling you, I think he who shall not be named is not actually like who you think he is. And he gets money from somebody to make the content that he makes because it's a very specific reason why. And I think that there may be like people maybe pay the refs because once again, we said this recently, perception is reality. And in some ways, getting out there and making content and putting content out with a certain thing that says something will become the more the reality when people say it, even if it's not totally true. That's just the way this world is at this point, is that some people just go on what they hear on the internet. So in some ways, people really try to manipulate that with like what should be reality and what isn't. And that may be part of that, is that that's the battle from that side to battle for perception and to make that the reality. And that is very interesting. Yeah, I really was proud of Nick. Like, listen, he's not happy right now. He's in a bad place. He's in a very stressful place, but he still came clean and said, look, we could have made better lineup decisions. He basically said that. And listen, it is true. That was a big part of it, but there were other things that were involved too. His players did need to show up with better energy and match it. And they didn't realize the steamroller that these Canadian kids would have, the excitement and enthusiasm they'd have to play in Toronto against the Raptors for the first time. That was a big deal to them. And that was a big reason why they kicked so much ass, because it really meant something to them. And meanwhile, for the Raptors on the other side, it was just another game. And there wasn't anything really special about it. And that was part of the problem. Let's see. Seymour Sands. So Kyrie loses his shoe deal for tweeting about a movie, and Ja gets a little game suspension for waving a gun and beating up a minor. Well, I know. And listen, this is what Jaylen Brown's saying, that they've signaled that they are going to go after the NBA for suspending Kyrie and going after him and punishing him this season this way. I think these are totally different, and they shouldn't be compared in some ways, because in some ways I get it. I don't think either one's that great, but in some ways I see what you're saying, that Kyrie's is a little bit less worse. But also at the same time, one of the things that's happening right now is Ja is very much rehabilitating himself. He's played again. He's come back. And he's doing all the hoops. Once again, Kyrie had hoops he had to jump last fall, whether they were rightfully the right thing to do to him or not. That was what the NBA and the Nets required for him to return. Well, Ja Morant has hoops to jump through also with this whole dumpster fire that he's had recently. And he's very, very motivated to make those hoops and make sure he continues to have his career. So it could be he's being absolutely a great citizen right now. And they did suspend him, and he got suspended by the team, and he did miss games and all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know. They're very different, Seymour, but I kind of get what you're saying. Space Cadet saying, I mean, if you finish 8th, you can win that 7-8 playing game, and you finish 7th. Oh, I get your riddle now, Hookah Caterpillar. I get your riddle now. That's what it is. Oh, you Space Cadet, you. That totally makes sense now. Yeah, we can finish 8th and still get the 7th seed. That totally makes sense now. Thank you for explaining it. That's funny. Mike said Gilbert Arenas' podcast was fun. First time watching, but when talking about the Luka thing, he was asked to comment, and he said the players know what's up. And at one point said, I quote, y'all cheating. Yeah, they know. They should know the most out of anybody in the league. They're right next to them, and they can feel it. And they know they've played games so many years in their lives. They know what good officiating looks like, and they know when there's something little weird, little screwy going on. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why we get frustrated. That's why Nick gets so mad at them, because he knows too. He knows. We all know that some of the fans like us that are paying attention and understand, we can see it when it's happening on the court. So definitely the players know. That's crazy. Yeah, I would never watch Gilbert Arenas' podcast because I do not trust him or would take anything that he says with a grain of salt, because I've heard this man talk in interviews in the past, and the way he talks and what he believes is absolutely crazy. But you go ahead, Mike, watch Gilbert Arenas. But yeah, he's like, there's a couple of wrestlers that have podcasts, but they cannot tell the truth if it was to save their life. They would just make up bullshit and say crazy stuff. And I know that they're lying. It was like, yeah, like Hulk Hogan. Don't ever listen to podcasts with him because he cannot tell the truth. In fact, Hogan lies are hilarious. He said that Hulk Hogan used to say that he was, what was one of his ones that he said that are really crazy. He said that he worked 370 days in 1 year once. Yeah, you do the math. 370 days in a year. There's not even 370 days in a year. He said because he worked in Japan and he flew back through the time zones that he added extra days to the year so that he actually worked 370 days a year. I'm like, is this Kyrie Irving flat earth logic or something? I don't know. But yeah, I don't take Gilbert Arenas to have any credibility, just like Hulk Hogan. In fact, Hulk Hogan another Hulk Hogan lie is this. He said that he met Elvis and that Elvis told him that he was his favorite wrestler. Now, you do the math on that. Hulk Hogan started wrestling in the late 70s and didn't become famous till 1983. When did Elvis die? Elvis died in the mid 70s. Yeah, Hulk Hogan wasn't even famous while Elvis was alive. So, yeah, Hulk Hogan lies, and I'm sure Gilbert does too. Click saying, good to see Click. Always good to see Click. Let's see what's Click saying. I've already mentally checked out of the season, but if we lose tonight, ain't no coming back for me. I'm ready for next season. I'm ready to go see Drake in July, then a Raptors playoff game. Laugh out loud. Click, I mean, I get it, man. Listen, this has been a hard haul. In some ways, this season has been like a bucking bronco, and some of the fans have been thrown off. Woo! But some of us are still holding on, and we're going to go right through to the very bitter end. And hey, listen, anybody can tap out and say uncle at any time. It's not a big deal. And I welcome you back when things are shinier and brighter at a different time too. But I get it, man. I get it. It's hard to lose. It's hard to feel this. We know. We're here every day. We know. Fun guy saying, to be fair, you could actually punish refs for certain texts, but it's like really circumstantial and still a hard thing to do. I just don't see an outlet to punish a ref. It's almost impossible. Well, like I said, I really do think they look at their whole body of work for the whole entire year. And that way it's not sussing out specific incidents or specific games or specific things. Maybe they look at their rate of correct calls. They look at maybe like, do they have like a weird bias against specific players like Ben Taylor does with Fred VanVleet? And they probably figure out the whole schedule in the summer of who the different tiers, the levels of refs are, as far as like these guys are the ones that really did well. So they're going to get the cherry of the this and this and this. These guys were in, and then they get either demoted or promoted in that way in the off season, just all together. And nobody has any idea of the system or how it happens, but I'm pretty sure that's how it happens in some ways. So, but I know it's a really tricky thing to try and do. And you don't want it to be too public because it could really, like, their house of cards. It could blow right over. It could really blow right over. Line Hunter saying, I think the Raps took the Pacers lightly for sure. Now they have backs against the wall. They will compete defensively tonight and win. Question is, can they keep that consistent effort for the remaining games? I don't know. We're going to have to go on a night-by-night basis. They definitely did not have the effort on Wednesday. And they talked about it yesterday. Siakam and Jakob in press conferences yesterday after practice saying basically, we have already been kind of our backs to the wall and trying our asses off. We've been in this mode already. And what happened on Wednesday is very disappointing for sure. I could really tell that they were down in some ways. Like Jakob, very, very like having a hard time, but he's very matter of fact with everybody. He's like, look, sometimes these things happen. We're going to continue to try. We just have to have a short memory, forget about this game, and get ready and be ready for the next game against the Pistons. That's kind of the thing that they say. We have to have a short memory. Sure, they watch the film. They go through the things that happen, and they kind of talk about it. A lot of what Nick said they looked at yesterday was defensive oriented and things like that. But also he said, because there's so many guys hurt right now, he can't do a very physical, hard practice because there were a lot of guys that aren't able to compete or be a participant in practice. The guys like Scotty, Precious, and Gary, but also the 905ers. He said that there are quite a few 905ers that are banged up right now. So in some ways, they don't have enough bodies to do some of the things they like to do in practice because too many guys are not able to practice right now. The practice footage with Scotty is showing him with the thing on his hand and him totally not using that hand at all. In fact, they were making light of like he's shooting with one hand, he's dribbling with one hand and not using the one hand that's hurt at all in practice. And some people are saying, ooh, that looks really bad. That's a bad thing. But maybe that's part of the doctor's orders for how he wants him to try and heal it right now. Don't use that hand at all. It may be better than it seems, but people seeing him playing one-handed and doing one-handed things in practice yesterday put a big red flag up for people and said, oh man, maybe he's hurt much worse. No, maybe it's just he's following doctor's orders and that he doesn't need to be leaning on it for a little bit, but he still wanted to be out there dribbling and do a couple things. So yeah, practice interviews were okay. I looked at Siakam's energy. He's upbeat. He looks strong. He doesn't look all tired and weird like he did earlier in the season when we saw him. He looked strong. He looked upbeat, and he looked fairly positive. And I like seeing that. I'm really reading his body language now because it can tell you what's going on with him. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for the comment, Lion Hunter. And I think you wrote me an email. That's you on the email, right? I appreciate the nice words on the email also. I think that's you, right? That's you in the email that you sent last night. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Because I remember you sent me one before and you said that was you. Seymour saying, I have the game recorded. I'll go back over it and see if I see y'all. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Seymour, if you want to know where we're sitting, you know where the entryway is, where they come in and out. So we're just to the left of the entryway in row 10 in section 115 behind the basket on that end of the court. So yeah, he might see us there. David loves that. Space Cadet saying Boston and Milwaukee might rest players in those games. Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope we have a chance. You saying we have a chance? Seymour Pape, you saying we have a chance if Boston and Milwaukee are going to rest players and maybe like who knows what they're going to try and do at that time? It may matter. That game, those games may matter to them as far as what they were trying to do with the postseason, but they may not. And it may be those games, maybe even though they're right at the end of the season and they're tough, they may be easier because of the situation, what the team's trying to do. You're right, Space Cadet. We'll have to see. Tom Duke saying, fun guy. I love the West Coast. Toronto is huge. Some are city folk. I'm not really. I did see the lake, but I live on an island, and growing up on the prairies, I like being by the ocean. There you go. Tom's also saying, I also have a soft spot and like our winter rain over that white stuff. Tom's saying there is no Raptors here. Want to see a Vancouver or Seattle team soon. Raps for life. There you go, Tom Duke. So he's giving you a little bit of the pros and cons of both sides. Yeah, listen, you can get snow over there in the winter. That does sound very nice. In some ways, fun guy, doesn't it? No snow over there. They got that coastal temperate weather over there in BC. Yeah, and it's much more natural and nature oriented over there too. As Tom put it, once again, he said he lives in God's country. And in some ways, I believe him. And I do really am intrigued and want to get out there and see what's up. Now, I'd love to see the Seattle Supersonics come back. That would be amazing. And that would be great for that region for sure. But he will be Raps for life still. Watch. Fun guy saying, so no more Tom. I'm moving there. Laugh out loud. Say no more, Tom. He's coming. I'll take the rain over the snow any day. See, I knew that would be the thing that would put it over for Mississauga's fun guy to want to get out west. Smooth saying, yeah, MJ hit the shot right after the buzzer sounded. I remember that game like it was yesterday. Awesome, Smooth. Yeah, what a great victory. And a very early, big, huge victory for the Toronto Raptors expansion team. Very, really kind of an important milestone in our franchise history, even though it was just a regular season game. That was a big deal. It seriously was. Nobody was beating that Bulls team that year. And we did that year. And that is very much something we can say that we did. Evelyn's here. Yes, Tom Duke, Raps for life. That's right. And Granny Evelyn is an original Raptors freak. She's been in the team's fan nation since the beginning. She is a real one, y'all. Granny Evelyn is a real one. We love you, Granny Evelyn. Click saying, love Masai, but we're all being realistic. He has missed in the last 3 drafts, aside from Scotty. That is why we have no depth. You see rookies on other teams making impacts. Here, our rookies don't. I think that's a little pessimistic, Click. I mean, Malachi, yeah, sure, to a degree, he's kind of a fail. But in some ways, is he? I don't know. In some ways, maybe he's a late bloomer. Maybe all of a sudden he's just going to bloom all of a sudden, finally, after 3 years. Who knows? I don't know. In some ways, I could say that was kind of a miss, that season and that draft. And, when I think about the other ones, I think Koloko and Barnes have been great picks. You say Barnes is for sure. I really do think Koloko last year is an underrated pick and will become something that everybody will be like, holy crap, that was a second-round pick in the years to come. I still feel like that's coming. The thing is that we just don't have a lot of picks, so there's not a lot of rookies coming in. And in some ways, I don't mind that. This is tough to say. I mean, I don't know. I think that they've done really well with the picks that they've had. Maybe they could have picked a little bit better. Malachi Flynn, somebody else instead. They say Desmond Bain. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. But I'm not saying that he's missed the 3 drafts. You can't say that about Scotty's draft. And I know you can't. I'm going to say you can't say that about last year's draft. So, but maybe Malachi's draft. I'll give you that one. How about that? Cool Cat saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. We'll be at the game tonight. I hope I am the good luck charm. I see that Miami is now top 6 in the East. I need Fred to be a team player and stop thinking about his contract for us to win." Yeah, I know you've been saying this since the other night. I mean, I see it differently. I don't think it has to do with that stuff. I know we talked about Clutch yesterday, but listen, you really we didn't have enough firepower, and in some ways, we needed him to shoot all those shots. The only problem was he missed them. That's the thing. I don't mind him taking the shots. I want him to shoot a lot. It's just he has to make them. And that's the problem. If he's not making them, then I get upset. But in some ways, he's the guy. He has to be the guy who's shooting them. And we kind of live and die with him. And it's too bad that it's like that. But I'd much rather it be him than a lot of the other guys on the team because he has a proven track record. And it's just sometimes he's not going to come through. And he didn't come through on Wednesday. That's very true. But there are many, many nights where he does come through and he does hit those shots instead also. So, yeah, it's tough. I'm very happy Miami is out of the play-in right now. I am. I want them to continue to be up there. And we can have Brooklyn with us down here. That's a much better team to be in the play-in, possibly in a game against us. Let's see. Mike is saying we had 1 first in the last 3 drafts plus the 4th, and it was the post-chip pick at 29th, basically second round. Click with context, you can understand. Did we miss on Banton and Koloko? It's been 1-2 years. Yeah, that's another one. We bring up Banton. That was a fantastic pick. I don't know. In some ways, it's too early to make this judgment that Click's making because you don't know what Koloko is going to do in the next 5 years. You don't know how good Scott's going to get, and also Delano. So I think you're a little early. You're a little early with this prediction about our drafts. And sometimes you can't really suss out the draft for at least 5 or 6 years after the draft has happened. You got to see what they do. Shere Khan is in the house. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Shere Khan, the real one, on Raptors Tonight the other night. I was at that show, Shere Khan, in the background when you were asking your question. It was really cool to see you get your question asked, and I was standing behind Randy. Let's see. Busy at work, but just wanted to jump in and say hi. You go, Shere Khan. You're awesome, man. Raps can still get it done. Let's get these 3 wins and get back to win 500. Yes, get back to that 500 level. We got to get back to even. Totally with you, Shere Khan. I love those goals. Isaac saying, I just want a separate ref to review the video replay. Remove the hothead emotional bias out of the picture already. I think that would help things for sure. Because in some ways, it's sometimes people do have a problem admitting when they're wrong. Stubborn, cocky. Like I said, these refs seem like they're cops. Like they're very arrogant and they're above reproach that they don't make mistakes. And even if they do get mistakes, they sweep them under the rug and they don't have to ever feel accountable for them. In some ways, that's what I feel like is going on. Like there's covering up for each other. Whether it's the official voice of the referees, the other referees covering for each other, the replay center covering for the refs on the site, whatever. I like what Isaac's describing here. And we've said this. We talked about this a couple times in the last couple months, that it would make sense to take it out of the decision out of the hands of the refs that are on site and give it to the officials that are in the replay center. And then I don't know, maybe they'll be in cahoots and they'll still go with them every time. I don't know. But I kind of like the idea. And if they tried it, maybe it would work. We'll see if they do it. Maybe they'll hear everybody saying things like this. And they'll be like, we have a new innovation. The replay center decides the challenges. Okay, that sounds good. Let's try it. Cool Cat saying OG is playing hurt. His hand wrist is hurt too. Yeah, he's had problems with it on and off during this whole season. This is actually true. And you will see him holding it at times too. It's similar to Scotty, both holding their wrists. Yeah, that's a good point. Mike's saying, I watched the podcast to hear what he said on the refs. Yeah, I wouldn't take him on much else. But isn't that what Scotty said to Foster? Y'all cheating? Maybe Gilbert was throwing a confirmation on that ref. Well, we know Scott Foster cheats. And Scotty was exactly right. And that's why he touched a nerve. And that's why he got tossed. is because Scott Foster's a little sensitive to being called a cheater because he knows he's doing it. In some ways, thou dost protest too much is as a symbol of guilt. And that's what's going on in this situation. He's like, why did you react so strongly, Scott? If you're not a bad ref and cheating, why would you react? Maybe if you weren't, you would be like, I don't care what you said. That's bullshit. I don't believe that. Nobody else believes that. So yeah, I'm just going to be ignoring what your comment was. Well, when you get so sensitive to it and you hit a soft spot, ooh, oh, I'm mad about you saying that. I'm not cheating. I am not cheating. That makes me think you are cheating. All right, let's see. Fun guy saying, "Oh, okay. Apologies, Lex. I'm perceiving punishment as an isolation, an incident, and issuing a punishment. But you're speaking more on overall body of work. Wonder if that's what Trey meant, though. Well, what Trey wants, is he wants it to be just like the players. That if the players get caught and get technicals, or they get in trouble for this, they get publicly like fined and suspended. Well, that's what he wants. He wants it to be transparent. He wants the NBA officials to be put on blast also and say, okay, Ben Taylor's been fined $25,000 for making the call wrong in this game or something like that. These guys probably don't make enough money to get fined like that. And then the other thing is like, oh, this referee suspended because they made the call wrong at the end of the game and it cost one team the game. That's what Trae Young wants. He wants accountability for fucking up the games, and the games go down and they're over and they're done. See, that's part of the fishy thing to me. It's kind of like a really good racket. They can fuck it up and know that they did fuck it up on purpose and like have it like, okay, yeah, it's fucked up and we'll admit it, but they don't rectify it. It's not like they go back and change the win to the other team that they should have gotten it. Like this thing with Mark Cuban, this protesting, this Golden State Warriors Dallas Mavericks game this week. When they go through, even if they find him right, it doesn't mean they're going to actually go back and retroactively change their records. So in some ways, it's like they get away with it no matter what. And they can even apologize and say, yeah, we were wrong, but they still won't change it. So it's like, what's the point? That's part of what Trey has a problem with. It's like you guys admit you're wrong, you say you're wrong, but then you don't do anything to rectify it or change it. And so what's the point? So he wants suspensions and fines for them publicly in front of everybody, just like the players. And then also the ability to go back and retroactively change results of games days later because of the fuck ups. And I think that that's all very valid and fair in some ways, but I don't think the public punishments of the refs will go over. But maybe rectifying their mistakes afterwards would be good. Like that Sacramento game that Mark Davis stole from us way long time ago. They admitted that he got the call wrong at the end of the game, but it didn't matter. The W stayed for the Kings, and they didn't change anything in the history of the history books. They just said they admitted wrong, and that's it. You got to go on. So messed up. So messed up. Fiercey saying at Seymour, you will see Tom Duke cheering, and if it's at the moment announcers take us to a commercial break, for sure before the second half. You go, because Fiercey was the one who saw Tom. And so she should know where exactly he was. All right, Tom saying, yes, sir, Ski. Let's fucking go. Yeah, Tom, you're on TV, bro. We got to get a picture of you on the Raptors broadcast. Mike saying, when Poeltl was talking, he said there's this inner thing for every player where they need to motivate themselves at some point. As a pro, it's on the player to have that. Everyone is unique in their own way. Yeah, I like that talk by Poeltl. As far as like why they were so flat at the beginning of the game the other day, he said, we're pros. This is what we do. We're professional basketball players. So if you're a pro, you need to be up and ready for your job when you show up. It's like if you go to your work and you haven't slept at all and you haven't eaten and you're not ready to work, are you prepared to go to work? No, you're not. So these guys have to take it the same kind of way, but on an ultra level to be at the top performance that they can possibly play. And different pros take this more seriously in different ways. And then in some ways, he's saying like the other players on the team can help encourage you to prepare and be in the right mindset and motivated for the game at the beginning of the game. The fans can help, the crowd can help, the coach can entice you and motivate you also. But it really is up to each and every individual how much they get up for the games and how motivated and active they are in the games. And I like Poeltl talking about this. He's very like just giving us the nuts and bolts. This is how it is. And he's right. And it is up to each individual. You're a professional. Act like a professional and show up like a professional is what he's saying. Let's see. Tom Duke's saying, "Oh wait, Seymour, you were saying you can see me. I thought you meant in the future at a Seattle game. Thanks for finding that. Awesome. Yeah, no, Tom, you're on the broadcast. That's what they were saying yesterday when you were traveling back. That they saw you on TV. That there were a couple of people that were watching the Raptors game that said, "Hey, there's Tom Duke." When we were at the game. Yeah, if I'm in my seat, you should see everyone next to me. Yeah, I'm wondering if you could see me there too, because I was pretty close to Tom, of course. Tom's saying, by the way, I did see Lex in the background at the Raptors Tonight show. That's right, I am. You can see me in the jersey. Tom knew I was standing because he was there too. But yeah, you can see me back there, kind of lurking like a ghost in the back. Ooh. All right, let's see. Mike's saying, I saw the indie broadcast. There could be more angles of you guys. Replay site has the game file to browser, Tom. I'm glad you had fun, bro. Next time I want to come out too. You go, Mike. Yeah, it would have been cool to have as many of everybody down there, especially Mike. Because if Greg was down there, we could have had the trifecta of the Raptors content guys, Greg, Mike, and myself in the house. That would have been awesome, Mike, for sure. But yeah, good intel that you check the India broadcast also. Somebody's gonna find this, and I want to see it. I want to see it. Y'all need to share it in that Facebook chat when you guys find it. When you do, Isaac saying, I only saw 6 Tom Duke imposters during the broadcast. Hilarious. Come on, Isaac. There's only one Tom Duke, and all right, maybe there were like 5 Tom Dukes there also. Fun guy saying, "Oh shit, you caught up quick today, Lex." All right, that's good actually, because I got a lot of work to do before the game today. And all right, I got stuff to do still. Let's do the ref report. We've got 2 games today, guys. As I said, the 905 are playing for nothing at this point. They were statistically eliminated from contention for the G League playoffs last night because of wins in certain games that had nothing to do with them. They were eliminated from the playoffs last night. So the 905 are officially done. They're just going to be going through the motions with the last 2 games in Greensboro against the Swarm. They play today and they will play tomorrow, and then their season is done. They are done. So our referees in Greensboro tonight at 7 o'clock for the 905 game are Biniam Maru is the crew chief, Catherine Chang is the referee, and Cameron Garber is the umpire. So there's your refs for one of the last 2 905 games this year against the Greensboro Swarm. We'll have to see who's out there playing for them. The game doesn't matter. It'll be very interesting to see how that game goes down. It's not that Greensboro is playing for anything either, because they're out also. Now, for our big club here in Toronto, our referees for tonight, we have crew chief John Goebel out of Miami, Florida. He's a Miami guy. John Goebel is the brother of Jason Goebel. His favorite movie is The Godfather. His favorite musician is this is how he answers this question. What's your favorite musician, John Goebel? Oh, I enjoy hip hop, salsa, and reggaeton music. That's not what I asked you, John Goebel. Oh, hip hop, salsa, and reggaeton music. Can you name the artist? I just like hip hop, man. Okay. You don't know any artists, do you? Maybe not. His favorite app is Amazon. He most like to visit Australia. His hidden talent is Cuban coffee barista. So his hidden talent is working at Starbucks or something? What is this? Who says their hidden talent is I make coffee? I don't know, man. Maybe that is a really good talent to have. I may be stupid and just not in coffee world. Oh, he's a Cuban coffee barista? Ooh, impressive. His meal is a skirt steak, black beans and rice, and fried plantains. Well, he's very specific with his meal, but not with his music. Come on, Goebel. Come on, man. Jason Goebel is a PE teacher. Just a little fun fact, but at least he's not a cop like his brother. All right, so John Goebel is pretty good for us, guys. And well, actually, no, he isn't. Let me see. He's the worst ref for us tonight. We win 50% of our games exactly. We've won and lost exactly the same with him. We won the last game we had him as a ref, and Detroit wins 48%. So 50-48 is the split for us slightly with John Goebel, the crew chief. So yeah, it's the Miami ref. The second ref is Mitchell Irvin. He is Drake fan, Mitchell Irvin. Hey, Mitchell Irvin, can you do something for me? 21. Can you do something for me? Yeah, he's from New Orleans. He now lives in Houston. His favorite TV show is Power. His favorite movie is that one with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, where Arsenio Hall goes and buys the hot tub in the apartment and has the hot girl over. And Eddie Murphy comes home and he's like, "What are you doing, Simi? Why? What are you doing? No, we're not supposed to do. We are supposed to live like people in Queens. Coming to America, of course." His favorite book is Between the World and Me. His favorite app is TikTok. He'd most like to visit Dubai. His bucket list is skydiving. His favorite meal is char grilled oysters. So we got a skirt steak with all kinds of trimmings and some char grilled oysters for Mitchell Irvin. Mitchell Irvin is a cool ref. I like Mitchell Irvin, man. He's been a pretty good ref to us at different times. This is pretty interesting. Irvin previously worked for the sports representation firm Sports West Football, the New Orleans Saints, and the New Orleans Sports Foundation, and as a middle school physical education teacher and coach. He started an organization, the Irvin Element, to help mentor adolescents and young adults. So we have two PE coaches here. And this guy, he worked for the New Orleans Saints, Mitchell Irvin. Now, his records with us are the best today. Or no, they're not. He's the second best ref for us. We win 59% of the time when Mitchell's around. And meanwhile, the Pistons only win 33% of the time. So there's the split, 59-33 for the Raptors. And we won the last game that Mitchell refereed for us. The third ref is Matt Meyers. He's in his sixth season. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. He now lives in Washington, D.C. His favorite TV show is The Wire. Rest in peace, Lance. Favorite movie is The Shawshank Redemption. His favorite book is A Promised Land. His favorite app is Words with Friends. He'd most like to visit Bora Bora. His hidden talent is he's a good golfer, and he'd like to attend the Masters. His favorite musician is Brooklyn Nets owner Jay-Z. His favorite meal is buffalo wings. So we got a skirt steak, we got char grilled oysters, and we got buffalo wings on the menu today. Matt Meyers, not Mike Myers, Matt Meyers, his interests include photography and traveling. He played golf and soccer in high school in Missouri. Matt Meyers is a ref that we haven't seen a whole lot this year, but he is a very friendly ref to us. We win 64% of our games when he's reffing. He's the best ref for us tonight. We did lose the last game that he ref for us this season, but the Pistons only win 28%. So that split is 64-28 for the Raptors. So there's your ref report. Not a bad ref crew. I mean, nothing that really pulls any red flags to me as far as like these guys are, a little sus. It doesn't feel like that to me. I mean, Goebel could be a little bit of weirdo maybe, but I really don't mind the other two refs. Irvin and Meyers are good refs. So we'll have to see. I don't think there'll be any funny business. This should be an easy win for the Raptors, and we need to take care of business and just make sure we get this one. We need to bank the wins right now so we can get as close to 41 as possible. When we get to 42, hey, that's a winning season. So we need this win tonight just to add to that win columns to get to possibly a 500 season for sure. So, yeah, there's your ref report for tonight. Not a bad ref crew. Let's see. Mike saying Doughton Harper Jr. will be up with the big team for the rest of the season after tomorrow. Available for any type of burn, plus practicing and maybe playoffs series preparation, but no away practices. Yeah, well, I don't even know. They're not with them. These guys aren't even talking about it on Twitter anymore, where the 905ers, who's like the two ways or where and what. I think that they really have that skeleton crew with the 905 down there. It very much be like a Ryan Hawkins show down there today. We'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know where Jeffrey is, if he's going to be in Greensboro for today and tomorrow, and then he'll come back and be around after that. I didn't go look, and I'm not sure if they're on assignment or not. But I know Coloco and Banton are not with the 905 for sure. I do know that. Fiercely saying off topic, last October, I tried to buy tickets, but most games were already in this resale via Ticketmaster. So I registered on Raptors website to be on a list. No news to this day. Is that normal? That's weird. Listen, I understand what you're talking about, Fiercey. It's bullshit. Like, this is a real problem. The ticket resellers come in and scoop up all the tickets really quickly. And you see the tickets are up for sale at a higher price when you could have just gotten them. the best thing really is to like either pay attention to when they're going to drop more tickets for public sale before these guys can get them, and get them directly from the Raptors organization if you can. There are always tickets that seem to like pop up and open up even close to when the game's about to start. If you pay attention, it really is the best place to go is on Ticketmaster, and really look at those dots. Like if the dots are blue or gray, they'll tell you whether they're resale or directly from MLSE. Now, I've had very good luck buying just directly from MLSE without the ticket reseller in between us, and gotten good prices. But it really is me having timing and getting in there when the window opens up right at that time and getting those tickets before they get in the middle of it. So that's my best advice. You could do it that way. Now, the other way I do it is as I met, I saw them the other day before the game, go see Marco. I was saying, hey, Greg, Tom, this is Marco. This is my friend Marco. Known him for decades. He's a scalper, and he's a very good scalper down at the Scotiabank Arena. He's been scalping since the 80s. So he knows what he's doing, and he's a really good guy. And he will help you out if you need to get in the building and you don't want to deal with other stuff. And he will usually give you a pretty decent price considering things. You'd be surprised. The scalpers, in some ways, have more morals and ethics than the ticket resellers. And in some ways, you have a better advantage haggling with them face to face than trying to fight with the price over a device. So, I mean, anything I can do to help you guys get better ticket prices or get into the door or get tickets in the first place, I will do that. I'm a good resource to help with that. But that's basically how I look at it. I don't know. That's weird that you haven't heard any news about being on that before. They should be sending you emails telling you when tickets are going to go on sale and pre-sales and stuff like that. And that's what you should be paying attention to. That they may give you a pre-sale code and say, we're opening up a window to sell these tickets for this period of the season. And boom, you jump in there and get them then. That's kind of how I do it, Fiercey. MSJ saying, Raptors better grab this one or I will have to burn this new Raps hat or eat it. And Lex, I have played versus semi-pros, was never at that level of ball, just a good YMCA level gamer, nothing more. Listen, they're all different levels. I never played in high school. I mean, there's a certain levels that, my talent and who I am just aren't going to get to a certain point. And, your talent sounds like it was at least a few levels way above the average person. And that's what I'm saying. We all take this idea of like to be good in basketball, you have to be like an all-star and be like, Jason Tatum or people like that. There's different tiers and levels of excellent basketballs players that, there's some guys like Sherman Hamilton that never even played in the NBA. He's an excellent, very, very good basketball player, but he never got to play in the league. And some people may look at him, well, Sherman Hamilton is not a very good basketball player if he didn't make the NBA. Well, that's bullshit. He was an incredible basketball player and way better than a huge percentage of the whole entire world. So in some ways, I'm saying like people like MSJ or Guardian Transit, who were talking about yesterday, their own playing careers, that, there's tiers to it. And even if you were just playing against semi-pros and stuff like that, your levels, there's different levels. And I have to respect people that have better talent than me, regardless of whether they made the NBA or not. That's kind of my point was with you guys yesterday. Tom Duke's got the skirt steak out, and it looks like papayas and jelly beans. So those are red beans and rice. I like that. Okay, so those are the plantains. And then he's got the oysters. They're looking raw, Tom. They look raw. We got to char grill them. Oh, there's the grill. I see the grill now. That's good. And then you got, what is that, chicken head? What's the chicken head? For the buffalo wings. Yeah, of course, the chicken head. Well, you could just buffalo the chicken head and give it to him. I don't know. Good stuff, Tom. I love to see that Chef Tom is back in the kitchen, cooking it up. Fiercely saying, speaking of Drake, haven't seen him at games for quite some time. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we got to think about where we're at and what we're doing and stuff like that. Also, I don't know. Maybe he's like working more on music and stuff like that. But that's true. He hasn't been in the games for a little while. I keep joking that, yeah, it's because Drake just got capped and he's off in the ocean somewhere. Some ladies came to his yacht and capped him in the head and he fell into the ocean. And that's why we haven't seen him, because I believe videos. I don't know that they're produced and they're fantasy. I just think that's what happened. I'm watching a thing on the TV and he got shot and fell off the side of his yacht. And that's the last time I saw him. I don't know. Hopefully he's okay. Maybe he's got gills now and he's under the water. I don't know, maybe. Mike saying W stream. Thank you, Mike. W to you, man. TGIF. Bradley's here. Good to see you. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Gotta go. Sorry. Okay. Good morning. Gotta go. All right. All right. It's good to see you, Brian. Bradley. All right. Sorry, Tom. I was hoping to find me. I was hoping to meet you. Hopefully next time. Hope you had fun in T Dot with my buddy Lex. And bam. And David and Granny Evelyn and everyone, have a great day. Go Raps. You go, Bradley. Be safe this Friday. TGIF, my good friend Bradley, the Canadian Cowboy. Ta-da. They can help you in the 416. This is a company that Bradley works for, and they do the heavy lifting. They do the cleaning. They do the washing. They do the work around your house. If you need a job done, maybe you're somebody who can't really do the job because you're not strong enough, or maybe you don't have the time. You just need somebody to come help you out. I know that David Saborin said that he called Bradley and he came over to his house and he did a job for him. And not only that, he brought him some peppers that were fantastic. And it's like David couldn't shut up about Bradley's peppers the other night. Oh, Bradley has such good peppers, man. If you get Bradley to come see you from Tada, he may bring you some peppers. So look them up in the phone book if you need help around the house, carpet clean, windows washed. Maybe you need something help with something on the roof. Maybe you need something heavy lifted. Whatever it is, Tada can help you in the 416. They're in the phone book. Look up Tada. Tada. There you go, baby. Bam. Bam. Fiercely saying, thank you for the info, Lex. We're aiming to come back to Toronto for games. Such a nice vibe. And there is that one spot I found kick-ass Taiwanese soup, which I did not find in Ottawa or Montreal. You go, Fiercely Salsera. We would love to have you come visit Toronto once again. And if you do, definitely try and link up with us. And maybe we can come and say hi, just like when Tom came here also. That would be fantastic. You let us know when you're coming, and maybe we can all hang out and have a little get together. Troy Henry's here. Good to see you, Troy. How you been, Troy? I know we don't have much luck. Oh, Shamrock on a Friday's game, but I'm confident tonight is a big win. You know, that Friday thing was very much in the earlier in the season. It was like weird. We couldn't win on a Friday for like the first half of the season. Every Friday game we lost. And I was like, what's going on? Are these guys too busy, ready to go out because it's the weekend or something? Like this is not the weekend, y'all. Maybe the body rhythm is like natural. It's like let relax. 5 o'clock on Friday. Oh, it's off. I'm on the weekend. Well, these Raptors got to be the opposite. When everybody else is getting relaxed and ready for the weekend, they need to be going to work the other way. And that mentality is important for tonight. They don't feel the air, the vibe of everybody off of work from their 9 to 5 during the week. You guys have different hours, and your hours start tonight. 7:30 is when the tip-off is. So, yeah, make sure you're ready tonight, Raptors, to go to work. Bring your lunch pail and work. That's what I'm saying. You ain't got to worry about no beef livers and stew, whatever, going on in this game tonight. But you still need to work, even though these lunch pail guys on the other side probably won't be playing for them. MSJ saying, I do think that to know something, you need to have done it. Having coached and trained players taught me a lot too. But to be a pro, kids need to start early and code their mind and body as ball players. Yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways, like, look, I have levels that I played ball and coached, but they're not the highest levels. There's some experience in doing that. And I totally get what you're saying. That it's real easy to be an armchair quarterback and sit back and say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And the player's just like, you don't really understand how hard that is to do, or just like, okay, yeah, just magically, I'm going to just be able to do that just because you said it. You know, that's the thing that gets their eyes rolling. I mean, Scott was kind of like this last summer in Twitch when guys would come in or people would come in and try and tell him how he should change his game. He was very much eye rolling and kind of like, yeah, you okay, you're going to tell me how to play basketball? Come on. That's kind of how they feel. Like that's probably a huge pet peeve for NBA players, is like being in public and having strangers come up to them and tell them how they can fix their game. That's like a classic dumb thing to do as a fan. Just don't do that. If you're around a player, don't tell them how don't critique them and tell them how they can do their game. Now we critique them here, but we're not doing it to their face. And there's no reason for us to do that. If you're in public, do not try and tell Chris Boucher how to shoot the ball with a better rotation. Just trust me. It's not a good look. Fun guy saying, yes, sir. Always a great stream every morning before I go out for some fresh air with Mary Jane, taking in the sights. hiding from the Babylon. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Babylon. Oh, Babylon. I get to reminisce on the team on a morning high drives. There you go, fun guy. That's awesome. I love to hear that stuff. All right, well, I guess we'll do the next part of the show, and that is the real mascot matchup. The last time we saw the real mascot matchup, Ed Malloy had been trying to ride the yak, and he got bucked off, and he's in the ditch, ZZ Top style. And the Raptor and the Yak and Will the Wizard are walking away very quickly. Like and they're leaving him there. And they're like, okay, yeah, we got to leave this guy here. Well, there's a problem because the cops, they noticed that this happened with Officer Malloy. It's Foster and brothers. They're in the car and they pull up and they grab Officer Malloy out of the ditch and say, what happened to you? Is that an assault? He's like, no, not exactly. Well, we're going to get them anyway. And see, things didn't go very well with how quick the Raptor and the Yak and Will the Wizard are getting away. Their pace wasn't very good and they got caught. Yeah, they got caught up to by the cops. And they're saying, you assaulted Officer Malloy. And they're saying, no, that's not how that went down. In fact, we warned him not to get on top of the Yak and try and ride it. And we told him, we tried to tell him not to. He said, well, we're going to have to take you guys downtown after all. And Officer Foster's like, yes. And Officer Brothers is like, yeah, we're going to have to take you downtown for this, guys. Sorry. So like, what's going this is crazy. Well, the Yak does something even crazier at that moment when they hear that. This is an animal. It doesn't talk or anything. It's a real Yak. It lifts its leg and pisses on the police car, right? It pissed on the cop car. Yeah, to incense the police even further. He has pissed on the cop car. And like, oh crap. Like Will's like, oh no. And the Raptors like, now they're in big trouble. And they're gonna go down to Huskow for the Yak is really a problem with his bodily functions causing trouble for them, obviously. But yeah, now he's pissed on the cop car. We'll have to find out what happens next time on the real mascot matchup. It looks like Ed Malloy and Scott Foster are very angry now. Tony Brothers is kind of like, meh. Oh, what a weird story. Oh man, I don't even get it sometimes. MSJ saying exactly, Lex. For instance, I see people go after Pascal's game, but he started late and is an all-star. People should realize he is a miracle come true and enjoy this game, not break it down. Yeah, in some ways, like, look, he's weird, man. In some ways, he was kind of pissing me off in the interview yesterday because he is a little casual. And it's like, yeah, we've been trying already, but he doesn't seem like, I'm like, where's the oomph in what you're saying? Or like the frustration? Or like in some ways, I know you've been sad and depressed, and maybe you're on a high right now, and I don't want to mess with that. But in some ways, like, how much do you care right now, Siakam? Please show me. I mean, the output of the scoring in the fourth quarter the other night was fantastic, and it did show in good earnestness that you do care and you're trying your ass off. So yeah, it's a little. It's so true. Like these people have nowhere near the talent and the ability and what these guys have done in their lives and how hard they've worked and how much they dedicated themselves to it and how many sacrifices they made to do this. It's a different life. In some ways, people think, oh, they're cushy millionaires and they get everything handed to them. Their life is so easy. They play a child's game. Well, they also work super, super hard. They have all kinds of weird problems with like, am I doing enough to get better? And they have to second guess themselves if they don't. Like, oh, crap. So even in their off time, it's not like they can be totally relaxed unless there's certain players that are like, yeah, I can just turn it off and just go into that other mode. You know, Scotty would be on Twitch last summer and people would come in there and be like, why are you on here for so long? You should be practicing. There's like all this scrutiny, public scrutiny and public like judgment that in some ways that is part of the reason why these guys get paid so much because it's pressure, it's stressful, and you're under the public spotlight of scrutiny. And that's really intense and tough. In some ways, it's psychologically damaging. And that's all part of it too. So it's crazy. It's very crazy. And you're right, MSJ. We need to respect these guys for the levels that they get to, that so few, such a small percentage of people in this world that ever lived have ever gotten to. It's insane if you think about the numbers. The amount of people that make it the NBA, then the amount of people that are actually very, very good at the NBA, it is a minuscule percentage of the whole population of the entire world. Very, very minuscule. Mike saying, I took your visualizing the next chip and did something. I added something to my intro in honor of you, Lex. I wonder if you can tell what part it is. Respect always. Mascot matchup, supercut. You got to do it. We were talking about this actually the other night, going through and cutting out all the mascot matchups for the last year and making it an anthology where you can just sit and watch me tell the whole story in a row. It'd be kind of fun to do that. I've also thought about I need to take all my Raptors trivia games and put them in one folder so that if you just want to go see all the trivia, it's like basically I need to organize the channel a little better and have sections below on the channel page where you can just go and see, okay, these are all the classic Jurassic trivias. This is maybe an anthology or an omnibus of all the mascot matchups from the first season that I did. That's a totally different season than this year. And then maybe do this season. I don't know. It's a lot of legwork. And maybe I'll have some time this summer when things aren't so hectic and crazy. Maybe I'll do some of that organizing then. But yeah, these are good ideas. It'd be kind of fun to sit down and watch the real mascot matchup from the beginning of the season, just straight through with nothing else. And just going from each one that I do and see some of it I'd screw up and I don't have the right continuity. Like I say, I think one of them was I said the Wolves attacked the Raptor on the beach, but they didn't. They actually attacked him in a field earlier in the season. I fucked up and I was like, oh no, it wasn't the beach where the Timberwolves ate him alive before. It was in the woods, in the forest, in a field. But yeah, I'm all about doing a mascot matchup super cut and with them all in a row. It'd be really good. Troy Henry saying, I saw on some page last night lots of teams wanting to sign DeMarcus Cousins. Isn't that interesting? So weird. I think that's weird. I'm going to do that little emoji face. That's a little weird. Yeah. I mean, he's a little bit out of the league at this point. All right, let's finish up. We're just under 2 hours. We'll go ahead and get done before the end of the 2 hours. Real quick, let's just do the injuries again real quick. Detroit has a laundry list of injuries. Magruder out tonight. Alec Burks out tonight. Bojan Bogdanovic out tonight. Livers probable, but it's saying it's out also. Isaiah Stewart out. Hamadou Diallo out. Cade Cunningham out. So the Pistons are really a skeleton crew, basically Corey Joseph with a bunch of youngsters. And they should be beaten tonight. There's no excuse for us. We need to beat them regardless of who's out on our side. Who those guys are? Well, it's Joe Weezy, questionable for tonight. Delano Banton is out. Gary Trent Jr. is questionable. Precious is questionable. Scotty is questionable. And Otto Porter Jr. is out. Those are your injuries for tonight's game. The referees for tonight, at first in Greensboro for the 9:05 game, Biniam Maru, Catherine Chang, and Cameron Garber are the referees for the 9:05 game. And then here in Toronto for the Detroit Pistons game, John Goebel, Mitchell Irvin, and Matt Meyers. And those guys actually are not a bad crew. I don't mind that ref crew tonight. In the replay center, just to be safe, Kevin Cutler, Nate Green, and Musa Dagger are going to be in the replay center. All right. Yeah, I guess that's about all I wanted to do for today. I appreciate everybody watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I just really have had such a blast this week with Tom being in town. And, this channel is having really weird things happening to it at different times. And I'm just here for the growth. I'm here for the family, and I'm here for the community and just the good vibes and the good times. You guys are awesome. And you really are. It's a two-way street. This thing is both of us, all of us. And we are just like, I'm glad that we have the kibitzing and the ability to communicate back and forth and really get a lot of topics covered and the ones that you guys want to talk about. I think that's one of the special things about this channel is that in some ways, I don't curate the content. If you guys come in here and you have something you want to talk about, that very much gets talked about. And in some ways, that's very cool. It's like interactive YouTube content that you guys are actually partly the producers. And I love that aspect about it. And I appreciate you being partners with me on this Raptor Freak channel because that really is what it is. We're partners in what we're doing here. Evelyn's saying, Lex, that would be an amazing idea. You like the idea of me doing an omnibus or getting things more organized? Yeah, I'll try and do that. Fiercely saying, yesterday's game, Charlotte versus the Pelicans, only 2 players on the bench as 3 left during the game. Aubrey, Rozier, and another one. Yikes, that's crazy. And Denial's here. Go Freaks. You go, Denial. All the best to you. All right, guys. Have a great day. TGIF, Raptorize your day. Do it the right way, Bradley and Tom and everybody else that's out there at work and doing whatever you guys are doing. Just do things the right way. Get that good energy. And let's get that big W over the Pistons tonight. We need to win this one so bad. If we lose, and we're talking tomorrow, we're going to be talking about we are tanking. I'm going to be saying if we lose tonight, I'm going to say, yeah, we're tanking on purpose. There's no excuse to lose to a Detroit Pistons team that's only won one game since pretty much since the beginning of February at this point. So that would be really screwed up. 1-15. That is how they've been in their last 16 games. They've 1-15. You're going to lose to a game like that, a team like that tonight, that's messed up. We want to sweep Casey's guys this year. It's always nice. It's either one way or the other. They sweep us, we sweep them. They sweep us, we sweep them. And that's what it's looking like. It'll look like this year. So let's finish the sweep. Indiana finished their sweep against us on Wednesday. Well, let's finish the 4-game sweep this season against the Pistons tonight. All right, y'all. Have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with the reaction, and I appreciate every one of y'all. Let's go Raptors.